My name is Rich. I'm the co-founder of Paxos. We've been around for 12 years, which is about as long as Bitcoin and blockchain has existed for. Our mission of using blockchain technology to improve financial services has taught me a lot about patience. And patience taught me that changing a current financial order also means working closely with it. Even when you believe that your solution is right, and so do your customers, things don't move at the pace that you expect them to move. I think patience is applicable to many of my colleagues here who are fintech, crypto, blockchain, financial services founders, and trying to make big changes happen. And I'd love to share my journey with you and how things take time and patience is really needed. I remember exactly where I was the moment Lehman Brothers collapsed in 2008 during the global financial crisis. I was at a hedge fund with a short position in Lehman, made after our analysis showed a large gap between their actual and reported assets and liquidity. I was only 5 years out of college and researching deeply into a complex financial services company where almost no one knew who owned what or which assets belonged to which bank. What I learned is that financial products in general exchange hands instantaneously, whereas the settlement of these assets took much longer. Most of the technological innovation occurs only at the front end. At the back end, most of our financial systems remain quite out of date. For example, if you buy a stock on your app, you see it immediately on your screen. That's the front end, but your broker doesn't receive it till days later, and that's the back end. So that's the problem. In most cases, banks have to trust each other, which causes systemic risk, and I knew a better solution was needed moving forward. So it's after the crisis, most of society brushed off what happened as either greedy bankers or poor risk management. But at its core, the issue still lies with speed, transparency, ownership, and settlement of key financial assets. And it seemed preordained that shortly after 2009, I chanced across Bitcoin and its core technology, blockchain, that could seamlessly move assets without a trusted third party. I immediately recognized the value of what that might bring towards modernizing our financial system. In hindsight, I should have just instead bought Bitcoin at 9 cents. I would not have to learn 12 years of patience. That aside, I believe that blockchain will one day underpin the bulk of transactions in financial markets globally. This led me on a path to legitimize and use it to greatly enhance our financial system. To me, it was obvious. Making others see it was hard. Making anyone act on it was nearly impossible. Why wouldn't people act on something that makes sense? Well, I can't think of another piece of technology or industry that has been so vilified by mainstream media. This affects public perception and influences adoption, engagement from regulators, banks, and other potential partners. At the start, shady characters on the dark web use Bitcoin, linking Bitcoin and by extension blockchain to illicit activities. To be clear, there's a huge distinction between speculative cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology that underpins them. Cryptocurrencies went through many cycles of ridiculous booms and busts, as you guys are aware, with each crash pushing traditional financial services further away. Many projects promised game-changing technology that never materialized. And worse yet, many promised nothing but saw their prices soar. There are clearly a lot of pump and dump schemes commonly known in crypto as rug pulls, but such activities existed in markets without stringent financial regulation, regardless of blockchain as a technology. It was obviously a difficult endeavor trying to work with regulators in such a situation. In 2011, we went down the path of trying to get dual regulation in Singapore and in the US. We started in New York. I'm from Singapore, and blockchain is a 24/7 business. It made sense to be regulated in 2 jurisdictions. It took a long time. In 2015, we were granted our first US license as a New York chartered bank. In 2021, we became a federally chartered national bank in the US with a conditional approval. In Singapore, we also initiated conversations in 2001 with the Monetary Authority of Singapore. MAS took a different approach and was unwilling to have us regulated under existing regulations, but was also proactively crafting new, sensible regulation for the industry. We applied for the MAS license and received it in 2022. I consider the MAS license to be the most significant one available in the industry today. So lots of patience really is needed, even as we develop our relationships with banks in general, and trying to work more closely with them. There were issues with getting with bank accounts, as many who are working in crypto know. There are issues with getting bank accounts. There are issues with working and maintaining stable fiat rails for the industry. And I always remembered having crafted a letter always ready to be sent out to our customers anytime we lose our bank account. So we had to have that in place because of how the industry was behaving, acting, and all the difficulties with that. And when talking to banks really about getting our technology to move clearing and settlement, we went through and pivoted many, many times to trying to find the right solution. Most banks don't want to work with other banks, and most banks don't want to work with a system that doesn't give them exceptional profits. So getting them to work together was very hard. We tried pushing an end-to-end system that didn't work. We tried working with centralized clearing houses for 2-3 years, trying to get them to adopt blockchain technology in their businesses that would make a lot of sense. Right now, we are working with tokenizing assets, which gives you the greatest range of options. Tokenizing assets really it's quite simple. There's a lot of legal work. There's a lot of trust work needed. But essentially, you take an asset, you put it in a trust, and then the trust issues a token that can be moved around continuously on the blockchain. So as we went on this path and this journey, it took us 12 years now, and we are slightly closer, maybe one tiny step closer to achieving our goal of improving speed and transparency in the financial system. So change takes a long time if you're trying to accomplish something big, but please, everyone, try to accomplish something big because that makes the most sense. Just in the last minute I have, I think many of you in the room are thinking, well, patience is good. It's not that we don't have patience, but we all need capital to survive as young, thriving businesses. So, I think what's really important there is not just speaking to your investors, not just getting them to understand your vision and everything you want. It's also flat out believing in your product and finding every opportunity to make money from those products that you have successfully built. In our case, we really believe in blockchain. We really believe that Bitcoin would drive blockchain. We were very lucky that in our early capital raises, we raised capital in Bitcoin rather than in cash. And that was in 2013. So that obviously helped us from a capital standpoint. Because we work closely with banks and we were heavily regulated, it put us in a good position to win crypto brokerage business. Today, if you use PayPal to transfer assets on blockchain to buy crypto assets, you are actually using us and many other large payment providers. Through the process of learning how to tokenize assets, we also created our own tokenized assets. We run the world's largest tokenized gold, and we run amongst the largest stable coins available today as well. So in closing, be patient, keep building, and great products take time, but hopefully it'll pay off for all of us. Thank you very much.